Alright, welcome to Play Well Live, everybody. Ben here. We've got a very unique day today. We are going to be building some crazy roller coasters. But here's the kick. I am not going to actually be teaching it to you today because I have some good friends of mine, Ryan and Luke. This was their idea. I've known Ryan and Luke for many, many years since they were born. And they have been working on this challenge and have been sending me video of their trials, trying to figure out a Lego roller coaster. So I'm going to show you their video, and they're going to actually teach you what they've been working on and how they've built their coaster. And then I will show you close up a model that I've done where I've tried to copy some of the things that they've done with their roller coaster. And I've made a few little changes and I'm trying some things, so I wanted to show them. So Ryan and Luke, I hope you're out there watching this today. So before we watch their video, I'm going to wait for a few other people to hop on. But Lego roller coasters. Now Lego has recently come out with these fancy pieces. And these are actually Lego roller coaster tracks. And you can see one of the things that the reason why they had to make a special piece like this is because Lego doesn't really, it's very hard for Lego to turn and make these kinds of curves. So you can go up and down and actually turn like this. So they made these special tracks, and then they made cars, little roller coaster cars that look like this. So they have a few things. They've got wheels on the bottom, and they have these two little arms that reach down on the sides. And if you can see, what they do is they almost snap onto this so they can go up and down smoothly on this track, and those little arms on the side kind of grip to the side of the rail like this. And so you can see it works pretty well, it's pretty smooth. And if you want a longer roller coaster, you've got small cars that can be linked together by just snapping these little things together like this. And why do you think they have to be small cars? If anybody has an idea, post a comment. Why do you think it's not one long one? Why do you think they're small? So you'll have to think about that. But you can see then you can link these together like this, and we can go up and down and turn around. Now, these are really cool, but they're really expensive and kind of hard to get. So that's why I was so overjoyed when I saw Ryan and Luke send me these videos, because they figured out how to make roller coasters that really worked using the Lego they had at home. And you'll see the pieces you need. It's mainly plates and things like that, and we'll make some little roller coaster cars, and we're going to check out their video right now, and Ryan and Luke will show you how they built theirs and the parts you need, and then we'll come and take a look at this big one that I worked on and see if you can check out some of my modifications and things. So let's check out their video right now. All right, I'm going to bring you closer so you can see it. All right, so hopefully everyone can see okay. And here it goes, the Fearless Flyer.
Hey guys, here we have the Fearless Flyer. It's a Lego roller coaster that you can make at home, and today we're just going to talk about how it works and how to build it and that kind of stuff.
So first off, with the track, you just need some plates like these over here and some flat pieces like these. So all you have to do is take a flat piece and then wedge it in between the studs on the plate like that. Do it both sides. Doesn't really matter how you do it. And then you just have to wedge them into the next plate like this. And then you just keep on going. Like that. Okay, so if you can see on the track here, we use the pieces that have studs instead of these smooth pieces, but both work. And you can see that there's a bit of space in between these two pieces. This allows the track to be angled downwards, giving the track a nice slope. And then down here, you can see how it curves a little bit. You do that by putting a longer piece on the outside, shorter piece on the inside, and then just wedging them into the studs of the plates like that.
Alright, onto the car. So here we have our coaster. And how I got it to roll on the track was I put a small wheel on the inside and then a big wheel on the outside. And so I kept it together using like a clip and whatever it attaches to. And when you're fitting your roller coaster, however many studs you can see between the two pieces of the track, you subtract one from that, and then you get the number of studs you want here. And after you're done making this, you can add like chairs with people or whatever you want. Alright, now we have the wheel, and the way I made this was, I have a gear below the wheel, and then attached to the crank there's another gear, and that spins the wheel on top. And when you put it into action, it should look like this.
Right. So thank you so much to Ryan and Luke for sharing that video with us, and I hope that gives you a little start on how this works and how they solved some of the problems by translating this kind of fancy piece into normal Lego. So we're going to talk about a few of these things, and we're going to look at some options. Now, first off, I wanted to talk about the spacing that they used. They used a spacing where they wedged their rails in between, and they had basically on a 2x6 plate, and they had, you remember that what Ryan mentioned was how many studs in between, you subtract one, and that's how wide your car is. So when they did this, their car was only 3 studs wide, which is pretty narrow. So what I did, just to make it easier for me with the pieces I had, I wanted a simple little roller coaster car that was like this. There was a 4x6 plate, and on the side I used the exact same wheels as they did. I'm going to show you what I used. And you may not have these, but the point is you've got to have small inside wheels and bigger ones on the outside so that it hugs the track and doesn't fall off. So I used a long pin like this. I think this is just like they did. And I snapped on one of these little wheels like this, and then put a larger one on the outside. I think this is exactly the same as Ryan and Luke made. And then I snap it into my little beams, and I put a little plate on the top. Now, if I do this, how wide is this? 4, so how wide does my track have to be now? My track has to be 5 studs in between. So I have kind of a weird track, where my track, you can see I'm using 2x8 plates on the bottom of my rail, but I'm not putting my 1x plates all the way on the outside. I'm putting them on one, it's on the edge, on the other one, it's 1 row in. And just by doing this, if these are all the pieces you have, I've made a train, and my train can go on my track. So that's one thing. Now, roller coasters though, we're not just going flat. We're going high, and we're going up and down. So the next thing I want to talk about is supports. And you saw that one big thing is you might not have a lot of bricks at home, but you've got to get tall if you're going to make this thing work and make it a really cool roller coaster. So you saw Ryan and Luke used a lot of just crazy pieces like this, and that's what I used on my version of the roller coaster. I used a lot of bricks, but I also used whatever crazy structural pieces I had so I could get tall and strong quickly. Now, another thing that I did, that I added, which helped me for mine, is you can see here I have these cross supports here. So when I made my towers, instead of having each tower by itself and then the track is the only thing that connects it, I made down lower, I made some little connections points going across, which helped me make my track a little sturdier. Now, let's talk about the slope, okay, and the bend, because that is one of the hardest things to figure out, is how you can get something that's going like this and starting to bend, and that angle changes as you curve downwards on your roller coaster. Now, what Ryan and Luke did, what they showed you, is they basically took their rail like this, and they just gently bent it. And if you do that, it totally works. You can see there's a little bit of a crack here, but you still have enough wedging in between the studs to make it work. Now, how can you mount something like this at an angle like this? The magic piece are these, and you can see if you look closely at Ryan and Luke's roller coaster, they use some of these, and they can bend like this. And what they did is they basically just put some on the bottom of their plate like that, and then they were able to rest this on whatever support they had, and they were able to get an angle like that. Okay? Now, what I did, because I have a lot of Lego, hold on, let me see if I can find it. I kind of doubled these up a little bit because I had a lot of those. And here's what I did to make my slope. I actually used multiple of these. So for every rail, whenever I changed the angle a little bit, if I went from this angle to make a steeper slope, I used 2 of those bending hinge pieces. And you can see I had to figure out the height of one. I added a little plate under here. Hi Otto, hi Amma, thanks for watching, love you. And I lifted this up a little bit, and then it gave me, so what I don't want is a bump on that rail. So when I change angle, I do not want my car to bump. And I'll show you closer all these angles in a second. So that was my trick. And if it was more extreme or less extreme, I would have to figure out where these rails go and how high these bending pieces needed to be. So that was one thing that I tried. Now, the next thing, and this was one of the most amazing things that I saw that they did, is they figured out how to turn. Turning is, again, really hard because all these plates we're dealing with are straight. So what Ryan and Luke did, which was just brilliant, is they used longer plates on the outside with a little bit shorter plates on the inside. And if you hook those together, then you get a little bit of a turn. And you can actually get your car going on that. Now, when I made this, it was really hard. My dream was to see if I could get a roller coaster that linked all the way around. But this I found was really hard for me because I almost felt like I was bending my Lego to get that to fit. And so I wanted to experiment with turns. And I came up with a method that it's totally related to what they did. So if I had a straight thing here, you can see I have a little turntable here, like this. And what I did is on another track, I did the same thing with a long and a short rail. And I just stuck this onto the turntable in the right position. Hold on, let me see if I can get it back on here. Of course, now that I get it off, I can't fix it. And by putting it on, I'm able to get a pretty solid connection. I don't feel like I'm bending my rails too much. And I got a turn that on my car, it actually can go pretty smoothly on the rails and make a turn. So turning is one thing. I need a little more space and I want more time to experiment with these turns. But I think that using that turntable for me helped out a lot. Now, what else did I want to show you? I think we're ready to look closer at this roller coaster because the other problem, this is what I spent most of my time on, is how to get the roller coaster up. Now, the only trick I'm going to tell you that I started with is this. I turn my car, I have it kind of hollow underneath with just the beams under the plate, but I took one 1x2 plate and I stuck it right under the front of my roller coaster car. Now, we're going to check this out, and hopefully this works. But this was really what I wanted to figure out so I could build on what Ryan and Luke made. And before I show you that, I think the most impressive thing that I saw from what Ryan and Luke were not their solutions, it was their failures. They sent me all of their just disastrous crashes where they were doing trials and smashing and crashing and roller coasters were flying off the rails in slow motion. And I love that not only did they mess up, it seemed like they were having a lot of fun messing up and they were learning a lot about it and their designs got better and better and better. So this one is dedicated to Ryan and Luke. We're going to see if this works. I'm going to see if I can back up. I'm going to grab this and show you some details of this. Now my coaster is basically inspired. It's built just like theirs, but you can see I have all my supports. These are the cross members here, which help keep my towers together. And you can see I used all kinds of different supports to make it strong. Here you can see every time I changed an angle, I used 2 of those little bending pieces like that. And I have the rails, and if there's a gap, it really seems to work totally fine to have. And you can see really it's rolling on those inside small wheels, and the outside wheels just keep it on the track. And you can see by doing these double bending pieces, it allows me to change angles, and I can go down, back up a little bit, and down, and then crash into my little ball pit for now. So let's try this again before we look at the up. Here we go. Yeah, works. All right, so now here is the finale. This is what I tried to work on here. Now this is basically a long conveyor belt. And I geared it down so my motor in the back is powering an 8-tooth gear, which then drives a 40-tooth gear. And for my mathematicians out there, how many 8s fit into 40? 5. So that means my conveyor belt is going 5 times slower than my motor, but it has 5 times more torque. It's 5 times stronger. Now, when I turn this on, let me see if I can reach in here and turn it on. We've got my belt going, and you'll notice something. On the side, this is just regular rails like this, just like we've built, rails going up and then down. But in here, you'll notice every once in a while, there's these little pins right here. So I think you can guess what that's going to do. Let's try this out. Fingers crossed, everybody, okay? So here is my car. I'm going to go right here and pretend that this roller has been on its ride. It's going to go down like this. It lifts it up. Come on. Yo, no, we did it, but we missed the ball pit. Let's try one more run. One more run. I think we need a person on it. So, hold on. We got Granny. She's going on. Are we ready? Here we go. Okay, you ready? Take 2. Yeah. Oh! Granny. Anyway, as you can see, failures are fun. And you can see we have to have a lot of crashes before we probably should have put Granny on that roller coaster. But I wanted to say, first of all, thank you to Ryan and Luke for sharing with me. And hopefully now sharing with a lot more kids to get the idea going. And I think one of my favorite things is when we start sharing ideas, we can add to them. And hopefully by some of the ideas I had here, maybe gave some other people some ideas. Maybe Ryan and Luke gave you some ideas. I know that if they had all the pieces I had, they would have figured this out ages ago. So I know it's a little bit unfair that I've got all these pieces. But anyway, it's all about inspiring each other and kind of moving ideas forward. So I'm going to go find Granny under the couch. And I want to say, I hope everybody is doing really well. Tomorrow, Mike Spee's going to be on Play Well Live. And thank you, everybody, for watching. Be safe, and we'll see you next time. Take care, everybody. Bye.